NoFap makes you be 99% of men of your competition. The reason why is because you see it everywhere. You see it on TikTok, you see it on Instagram, you see it everywhere. You see ads of it. Whenever you're scrolling, all of a sudden you see something provocative, or maybe on Instagram, you just see it everywhere. And on top, it's a very easily attainable where you can just type it out and go in incognito mode, and then voila, you have it right there. And on top, you don't even have to go there. You can just go on TikTok, and that's crazy because there's little kids, maybe like 7, 10 year olds who have TikTok, and imagine what that does to a little kid, who sees that stuff, like who constantly sees that stuff where they're just seeing provocative, provocative girls, and just seeing this, or maybe a girl, sees stuff of guys. Imagine what that does. Imagine how how fucked up that is, where they're seeing all this stuff, and then all of a sudden, they're addicted to porn. They're addicted to all this stuff. They're it's just not good, and that's why so much men are addicted, because it's glorified, in music videos, and wherever you see, wherever you wherever you're on Instagram, on TikTok, all this stuff, you see it everywhere. You see on YouTube, you see on ads. It's so glorified these days, where it just makes you do instant gratification things, where you shouldn't be doing these things, but you can't help it. It's hard to overcome this. It's like crack cocaine, and yeah, it's just don't want to end up there, where you're just fapping, or relapsing, where it's just not good for you. It's not good for you and the people around you, because one because you're doing all this stuff. It makes you hide away from people when you're doing it. So, and it just makes you feel shameful. And imagine how you're gonna act with your family, with your friends, all that, when when you've been doing this stuff. You're not gonna act the real you. You're the real authentic self that you are, and yeah, just it's not good. And just already on top, you're already ahead of your competition. Just watching all this stuff, watching how to stop fapping, how to you're looking for ways, because you've been through that cycle where you're just you just fap, and then you just tell yourself, oh, I'm not gonna fap next tomorrow, and then tomorrow rolls around, and then all of a sudden you fap again, and you just constantly, it's that cycle over and over again. You just think, why can't I just stop watching this? Why can't I why can't I just not do this anymore? Why did I watch that when I was little? And yeah, you're already ahead of 99% of men, because there's, if you really think about it, a lot of them are just watching porn, watching ass, titties, bitties, all this stuff, and they're not doing anything about it. That's how they're gonna get addicted to porn. Because they're just watching all this stuff. And because imagine how they're gonna perceive a woman. They're just gonna see them for like an object. Just gonna see them like as a sex object. Imagine instead of watching all that stuff. Imagine if they didn't watch any of that stuff. Imagine how they would perceive a girl that they like. They would really want to get to know them, instead of just thinking of just clapping her cheek. Just doing all this stuff. No, imagine how you'll be, if you just stop watching all this stuff, just start living like a human being. Just be way more happier, better mental health, all this stuff, and you should be proud of yourself for wanting to stop doing all these things. And yeah, just keep going, bro. It's not gonna be easy. Just take it day by day. And the mindset that you should always have is you're not on NoFap. You just simply don't fap. You don't watch that stuff. You don't watch porn. You just don't watch that, because if you really think about it, when you have that mindset of, oh, I'm trying to quit, well, you still feel like a fapper. You're still a fapper. You still have that self image of someone that faps because you're trying to quit, instead of, rather than, oh, I'm not trying to quit, where you don't have that self image of someone trying to quit. You're just a human being who doesn't do that stuff. And yeah, just overcoming lust, overcoming your porn addiction, overcoming this, you're already ahead of just 99% of men, because you're doing something rather than just consuming it. Because if you really think about it, since you're learning about this, trying to overcome this, there's other guys where they're not doing this stuff, where they're just scrolling, doing all these things, and it's not good. When you could be out, just not doing this stuff, learning a new skill, mastering something. And yeah, this is why NoFap makes you beat 99% of men. And yeah, that's it.